Welcome. In this video, the event Divergent Chessboard of Azur Lane will be summarized. Throughout the video, there will be spoilers for the story of Azur Lane. If you don't want to be spoiled, please go and play the game. Divergent Chessboard is most likely based off of Operation Rosselsprung in 1942. Rosselsprung meaning the knight's move in chess and literally translating to horse jump. Rosselsprung was a plan by the German Kriegsmarine Navy to intercept an Arctic convoy on its way to the Soviet Union. Rosselsprung is considered to be the largest and most successful operation of its type, as it resulted in the near destruction of convoy PQ-17. Two naval forces were made to intercept, the first from Trondheim, comprising of the battleship KMS Tirpitz, heavy cruiser KMS Admiral Hipper, and 6 destroyers under the command of Admiral Otto Schwein, and the second from Narvik, composed of the heavy cruisers KMS Lutzow, what Azur Lane calls Deutschland, and the KMS Admiral Scheer, along with 6 destroyers under the command of Vice-Admiral Oskar Kummetz. A patrol line of 8 U-boats was established in the Norwegian Sea northeast of Jan Mayen Island, codenamed Icestofel, or Ice Devil in English, and an advance line of 3 boats in the Denmark Strait to give an early warning of the convoy's departure. Rosselsprung concluded with most of the convoy being sunk by the U-boats, as 3 of Tirpitz's destroyers were forced to return as they ran into rocks, as well as most of the command process needing Hitler's authority to give the go-ahead, and Hitler not wanting any action that would lead to the damage of his capital ships. Divergent Chessboard begins with Tirpitz dreaming, with someone who is obviously Enterprise telling her to wake up as the battle is about to begin. Tirpitz wakes, explaining that she dreamed of a world of ice, a lonely and desolate world on the border between transient and reality. KMS Graf Zeppelin scoffs at her dream, saying that a mere pawn like Tirpitz doesn't dream, and if she did, it'd be akin to a hallucination. Deutschland doesn't care either way. The only thing that matters is how the white pieces have entered the Mirror Sea, and if Tirpitz doesn't want to be sacrificed, she better get ready to fight. Deutschland volunteers to spearhead the attack as interceptions are her forte, believing it'll be another round of shooting fish in a barrel. Deutschland is defeated and says that she'd rather sink than surrender to, quote, lowly animals like them. 2 unknown figures are watching, the first saying that the gambit has failed 255 times now, asking if it's all the natural circulation system is capable of. The other says it's much faster than originally estimated. Humans, or natural evolution, takes a long time. It won't satisfy the judge, however, as they need more pieces, just as long as they don't dispatch the mirror images they created. One says that they will operate exactly as they were taught, not made to do, and that her production speed can meet all experimental demands as long as they have a backup of the original. The other wants White to just be an illusion this time. Elsewhere, KMS U-557 and U-47 arrive at their objective. There's no signs of the enemy, and 557 cancels their high alert status, descending to periscope death and entering snorkel navigation mode. 47 notices that the wind doesn't blow out there, as the intel said, with 557 adding that the pressure's way higher on the outside too, wanting to finish the mission and head back. 47 sees a target approaching, and judging by their ID signal, they're allies. Both submerge and prepare for trouble, remembering what the commander told them about not trusting anything out on the Mirror Sea. Hipper engages with the new White, supposedly the player, as she calls them, telling them that they look weak as hell. She's surprised that they somehow beat Lutzow, almost calling her Deutschland, calling her a tomboy who charged in the battle, calling herself the world's greatest armored ship. Hipper doesn't have any sympathy for that quote-unquote moron, but she just can't let her give the wrong impression of the Ironblood's might, with Hipper saying that she, the world's greatest heavy cruiser, will finish them off in a blink of an eye. Gneisenau sighs as she realizes that they let White come through, as they always do, saying that you can't trust Deutschland and Hipper with anything. Gneisenau states that White has a 31.75% chance of victory according to her simulations, but in a true battle, who knows? Gneisenau says that she will assess White's combat potential. After the battle, Gneisenau says that her data in their simulation was wrong, but if she can join forces with her sister, the chances of winning will increase to above 80% and tactically retreats. Elsewhere, Graf asks Tirpitz what's wrong. Tirpitz says that every move that White has made so far has been different than last time. Graf theorizes that it may be what the judge is hoping for. Tirpitz tells Graf that she's been thinking about something, that what if they're meant to be mere stepping stones for White to evolve? The sirens gave them powers, and what if it's a part of their plan? Graf tells her to stop as her ego will crumble if she keeps thinking like that, and her sacrifices, her being capitalized, will be in vain if she continues. Tirpitz is confused over Graf's use of her, with Graf shutting down the conversation, calling the person in question a fool, losing herself to idealistic delusions. And yes, she was the one who paved the way towards a different future for their kind in this world. White continues advancing and makes it to Scharnhorst. Scharnhorst says if they make it this far, it means one thing, that White might be a little different from those they've thought before. But they've never fought anyone that could escape their mighty guns. Gneisenau collected a lot of data during their last battle, with a chance of victory being over 90%. Scharnhorst tells White they're standing in front of the Shark Sisters, telling them to get ready to face their doom. Tirpitz dreams again of the Scandinavian snow, fierce raging wind, and the echoing roars of the engines from countless fighter planes, an explosion followed by flooding, then eternal darkness at the bottom of the sea. Another figure appears, identifying Tirpitz as her sister. Tirpitz asks who they are. The person apologizes and asks for forgiveness. Tirpitz then recognizes them as Bismarck, saying it's impossible and that she shouldn't exist in her memory. Bismarck is sorry for what she did for the sake of the Iron Blood. She just wants Tirpitz to understand. Tirpitz's head hurts, an overpowering sense of loneliness. Who is she really? The two figures return. One says that there's a state of emergency as an awakening response among the pieces has been confirmed. Their sync rate with the player going up by 7%. An awakening response is what the judge was hoping for, and once the other has fully confirmed the awakening and recorded the sequence, she'll dispose of the backup of the original. One is identified as Tester, the one that looks like a crab, has an idea and activates the quarantine mechanism and throws all of the black pawns into the mix, seeking to personally ascertain the gap and potential of White, the natural calculation system, and humankind. Z46 has joined the fray, and seeing that White has broken through all their defenses, she calls them a brilliant opponent with a brilliant name. She introduces herself as Z-Class Destroyer Z46, that she lacks a real name to actually introduce herself with, and invites White for a game of chess. The battle finishes, and Z46's lack of combat experience was her downfall, saying that she should have better demonstrated her planned AA superiority. Nonetheless, she never thought this world would be so different from what she was expecting, asking White to play her again if they ever meet once more. Graf witnesses Z46's downfall. She says that the existence of White is worthy of annihilation, and for the first time ever gives true meaning to her temporal life into this war. She introduces herself as the aircraft carrier Graf Zeppelin, and her Iron Blood Hellwing shall rain down apocalyptic destruction on White from the heavens. Graf Zeppelin's incomplete form was no match for White, with Graf saying it's another opportunity to slowly witness her own destruction. Ultimately, her army was no more than another piece. In order to become strong enough to protect Ironblood, she made so many sacrifices, annihilated so many enemies, was just following orders, tolerating becoming a piece of her enemies. What is Akagi planning out there? White finally reaches Tirpitz, who calls their battle utterly meaningless. White still wishes to proceed with the fight, with Tirpitz seeing how resolute they truly are. After the battle, Tirpitz recognizes White as those who are chosen by the Creator, having no choice but to acknowledge the gap in power between them. She finally understands what her dream means, that there's a real world that lies beyond the Mirror Sea, and in the real world, there's another her fighting for the Iron Blood. She's unable to fight for her hopes and beliefs in this world, and if Tirpitz happens to meet White again, she wants White to tell her, quote, "I want you to fight proudly till the very end." She bids farewell to the other Tirpitz beyond the Mirror Sea she will never meet. Tester Beta tells the other Siren that multiple pawns have awakened at the same time, making the experiment a huge success. The other asks what will happen if they steal the backup of the original, as if they did, it'd disrupt the war outside. White's evolutionary rate has drastically surpassed the natural calculation system simulation's estimation, and that they've achieved their goal. White finally meets Tester Beta, who teases White but also says they're different. The ship girls have nothing to do with nations, ideals, or memories, but their bonds with humans, and that element is indispensable for the evolution Siren's desire. Tester begins her experiment. 557 and 47 are recording the battle, when the other Siren, identified as Observer, finds them. They both submerge at max speed, as they need to get the intel to the commander quickly. 557 sacrifices herself to Observer so that 47 may escape. 557 may be called an unlucky sub, but her sisters give her the courage to keep fighting. Tester loses the fight, deletes the backup of the original, telling White that the judge thinks highly of their achievements. She tells them to continue down the path they believe into the final destination, and says, quote, "Oh, my dear creator, please tell me we'll meet again someday." Thank you for watching. Please follow my Twitter for updates, and check out my other Azur Lane and Arc Knights videos as well.